I love science. I think that it is an unrivaled, fantastic, magical, testable way to discover the natural world and to make our lives better in that world. I love reason. That's why I'm here, not only in this debate, but have debated now probably 25 times against leading atheists. I did about 10 debates against Hitchens alone. We got to be good friends. One of the interesting things I've noticed in getting to know some of the leading new atheists is that when you probe and get to know them better, you realize that their atheism is actually a form of wounded theism. Hitchens, for example, in his autobiography, speaks very movingly about how his mom eloped with an Anglican clergyman. The two of them began a tempestuous affair, which ended horribly when they went into a hotel room and made a mutual pact to kill themselves. If you pick up Richard Dawkins' book and flip to any page, you will read statements like the God of the Old Testament is a genocidal, megalomaniacal, pestilential, filicidal maniac. And you say to yourself, that doesn't sound like a scientist. And in fact, it isn't. It's a very pissed off guy talking about how he feels about a God that he claims does not even exist. So what I'm getting at here is that just as you're able to find wishful thinking motives in the believers, I want to suggest that there are equally powerful motives operating on you not to believe. If God is not, Dostoevsky says, everything is permitted. If God is not, you can say we have moral freedom. The 10 Commandments cease to matter. Fornication, adultery, it all becomes okay. Because after all, there is no one to look out over you or hold you accountable for your actions. That's a very powerful temptation to want to get rid of any kind of a cosmic judge. Now, UFOs. The reason that the testimony about UFOs is incredible, which is to say unbelievable, is that such reports are scattered. They usually come out of Texas, and they usually involve small numbers of people sitting outside a trailer who have been drinking. Now, if it were the case that 95% of all human beings on the planet regularly reported seeing UFOs, regularly reported having an experience of seeing aliens disembark, it would be extremely rash to dismiss that empirical evidence and claim that it can't be so because it refutes the laws of physics. In fact, the laws of physics would have to be accommodated to the reality of human experience that so powerfully and experientially testifies to aliens as facts. So the fact of the matter is, when we think about scientific experience, we cannot simply look at external experience. We also have to look at internal experience. There is a whole world inside of us, thoughts, feelings, emotions, known only to us. In order to be a pure scientist, you have to pretend that that world does not exist because nobody else can see it. They're not aware of my consciousness, therefore there is no consciousness. They're not aware of my free will, so there can't be such a thing as free will. I want to suggest that this is a kind of extreme dogmatism. It forces us to deny what we already know. Namely, that there is an inner world that is as factual, as empirical, as real to us as anything outside. Has science refuted religion? Far from it. All science has done is beautifully describe in another way the world that religion describes, if you will, in moral and in some ways in sublime terms. Thank you.